Hello and welcome to my channel Unstoppable. I'm Derek Sue, and today I wanted to share a really fun chat about crypto and wealth I had with Michael Whitman, a fellow YouTuber I randomly met last month in Las Vegas at NAB, the National Association of Broadcasters Conference. We shot this on the last day at NAB at Ryan Graham's pop-up podcast studio. So big thanks to Ryan for providing the opportunity and space for making this impromptu chat possible. Stick around now, because you're going to find out exactly how Michael went from making just $8 an hour chained to a job to becoming his own man and living his life on his terms in just a few short years through crypto. Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer: this is not financial advice, and everything shared is just for entertainment and informational purposes only. So with that in mind, let's get on with the show. Enjoy. Hey guys, we're here at NAB 2024, and I'm here with my man, Michael Whitman. Welcome.
Yeah, nice. Happy to be here.
Yeah, and we're testing out this little studio that's just been set up here for people to play around with, so it's kind of fun. Got some buttons here to play around with the cameras. But we're going to talk about Michael's favorite topic, which is crypto. I believe that. So before we get into that, let's talk about how you actually got started into the whole crypto space.
So I went to college in Bozeman, Montana, where there's not much to do. Typically what I would do is fly fish and hunt. That's about it. And then I started to look for meetup groups about stuff I'm passionate about. And usually when you're in college, I was eating ramen every night. I was like, I want to make money. What's a cool way to make money? And so I saw these two, maybe 50 to 60-year-olds running this old Bitcoin group. Just like only old people in this group, because It was held at a library.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and nobody would really go to it. So one of these days I was like, you know what? It's a Wednesday afternoon. I got no classes. Let's go over there and see what they're talking about. And then what they were telling me was, okay, Bitcoin is this revolutionary new thing. It's going to make you a lot of money. I wasn't really clear on the specifics of it, basically, but I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll put a little bit of money here just to kind of see where it goes. And then...
When was this?
This was back in 2018, I believe, like right after the crash. Because I had heard a little bit of stuff about Bitcoin, but I had no idea how to actually buy it. And so this was back when Bitcoin, I think, was around $4,000. Right. And these guys, what their primary job was they were Bitcoin brokers, like over-the-counter brokers. So if I had $100 million and you had, a ton of Bitcoin that you mined and you wanted to sell those off, they'd be like the real estate agent for that, and they would get their 5 to 6% commission, which I thought was, that's a really cool way to make money, isn't it? And so they were promoting their house. They were showing it off. They have a house in Big Sky called Bitcoin Manor. Well, they just bought it with Bitcoin. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So that got me started saying, okay, I might not be able to do that, but perhaps I could just start investing in Bitcoin, and over time, it's so new, maybe it'll become worth something. I already missed out on all these bull runs in the past. I was looking at bull runs, way back before I was even born, and I was hoping just one way to make money, and cryptocurrency seemed to be that way. Then I hopped into cryptocurrency, fell for a few scams, lost a few $1,000, learned my lesson that way, and then I just started to hold on to straight Bitcoin.
Hang on a second. Tell me about what do you mean by scam? What was a scam? How was it a scam?
So there were these things. In hindsight, I was incredibly stupid for doing this, but there were these Telegram groups, and I think this one was maybe a YouTube channel, where they wanted you to send cryptocurrency over to them for their contest, and they would have some type of public figure there. And then if you sent them crypto, it was a giveaway, so they would basically give you money back, right? And boom, it was a scam. Like one of my friends... they would impersonate famous YouTubers and say, hey, click on this link or go here, send $100 in Bitcoin here, we'll send you back 200. I don't know why, but I was just so desperate for money back in there, I just fell for it. And it's like a huge lapse of judgment. So many people do it. And the crazy thing about the blockchain is if you see one of those things now, they're all over YouTube. It's usually going to be a stream of Elon Musk, Kathy Woods, the guy that founded Twitter, Jack Dorsey, right. And then it's going to be the MicroStrategy guy, which I always forget his name. But there'll be a YouTube video where they have a QR link where they want you to scan it and send them money. People fall for it. All you got to do is click on that link, and you can follow the money on the blockchain, and you can see how much money they're actually making. Because those streams will have like 100,000 fake bot views on top of them too.
That's crazy.
So they outpace everything else, like myself or even some of the largest crypto YouTubers. They'll get way more views than any of us. But they're all bots, of course.
Okay. So you learned from that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then what happened? You invested in Bitcoin when it was at about 4,000 or 5,000.
Yeah.
And what were you dollar cost averaging, or did you just buy a bunch of with your
Dollar
spare
cost
cash?
averaging.
Okay.
I was working at a bowling alley making $8 an hour part time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so from there, I just a little bit every week, a little bit every week. Eventually, I quit the bowling alley because I just didn't like it. The safety, it was not a safe place to work. So what I did is I moved over to Uber. And basically, when you're doing Uber, you can work as long as you want to. You can have your books in the passenger seat, study in between rides. And it was so new at the time that not many people were using it, but the money was actually very good back then. So after every night, I would cash out my earnings. I'd pay a little fee for the instant transfer, and then I would actually be making really good money. Instead of making maybe $100 a night if I'm really lucky. What's 8 times 5? Yeah, about 50. Not even. Yeah, so not even $50 a night. I'd make it a couple $100 a night, $300 a night if I got really lucky. $500 because of tips, And
$500 on Uber.
This was back in the day before there was a lot of
Wow.
competition,
Yeah.
And plus, I was the only black driver in Bozeman, Montana, so I was the only one playing hip hop music, which was great for college kids. Everybody else was old people that were just looking for extra income.
Right, but how did you attract those particular college kids driving an Uber? How would they know that you were playing hip hop?
Oh no! So basically, I was just always stationed by the college because I was at school. So I would Uber would connect you to the closest ride.
Right.
I was always the closest. All of the older people, they'd be more in the downtown area, or they'd be more in the suburbs. And so since I knew that, a lot of times technology just, the younger generation, it catches up really fast. Like, oh, if I just pinpoint myself right here, I'm good to go. There'd be other people, of course, but usually that'd be good. Or I used to give out cards saying, hey, if you need a ride, give me a call. If I'm available, I'll help you out.
Wow, man, I love that entrepreneurial hustle spirit there.
It's all about hustle. There's money all over the place. You just have to find a way to capture some of it. It doesn't need to be one large spigot. Lots of multiple spigots. Like I used to think I just wanted to make money doing cryptocurrency trading, option trading the stock market. Then I realized that if I can just do a few trades a month and they're all good, making trades, that's going to be good. I can live off of that. YouTube, a lot of it goes to retirement. A lot of the vacations I like to do. Then there's also the sponsorships, which go to anything I want to do there. A lot of it kind of goes reinvested into YouTube, or it just goes into like a nice dinner every now and again. You've met Dustin?
No, who's Dustin?
Dustin is over there, one of my partners from Oprah's Clip.
Right.
Yeah, and basically I took him out. This is his first week in Vegas. I took him out to the Prime Steakhouse last night.
Nice.
And blew quite a bit of money on it, but it was a nice experience for him. And I was trying to show him he's just getting involved in this world. I'm saying, hey, you work a little bit longer, you're going to be able to make that money, you're going to be able to do your thing. Just keep on grinding, but don't burn out. I guess the burnout would be the worst possible thing. I've done that way too many times to count, especially with YouTube.
Oh, really? Burning out on YouTube?
I was doing Dogecoin so much that I got so famous where I was having 20, 25,000 people watch me at once. Where I was
How many people?
20 to 25,000 people watching me at once. Where I was just streaming so much that I was getting a lot of offers. So I was doing sponsorships for things that weren't even related to cryptocurrency, like a Manscaped, like the shaving at the top. I got offers from SoFi credit card. And I got an offer from the SoFi credit card people, and I burned out right before it, so I didn't even take the offer. And they were going to pay me about $5,000 for just 4 15-second ad promos in my streams. But I burned out and just stopped.
Wow.
It was rough. In hindsight, I hate that I did it, but I was just spiraling at that point. Because Dogecoin was going crazy. Everybody was having a lot of fun with it. But remember I told you that once I started to sell my Dogecoin, a lot of the community turned against me.
Right.
Because I sold it at 50 cents. In hindsight, Dogecoin only went to 79 cents. I sold a little bit more at 60, a little bit more at 70. I was ready to sell some at 80, but it just never hit.
What was your motivation to selling at those points? Did you see that it was going to crash, or why did you think that, okay, now's a good time to sell?
It was mostly because things were just getting too wild. Right. And usually when it comes to Bitcoin, there are a few things I like to see as far as when a market's going to be ending, when things are looking a little bit more rough. That's typically when you start to see some death crosses, or Bitcoin hits a crazy high and it starts to stagnate for about a month. Then it usually falls down quite hard. Actually, I think we're seeing something similar to that right now, which is unfortunate. But I was like, if if I bought this at 0.0024 and it's at a $250 market cap at this time around, and we're getting up to tens of billions of market cap, it can only go up so much higher. And everybody seems to have been promoting $1. If everybody says $1, it's most likely not going to hit $1. Shorts will come in and wreck that thing very, very hard. So I was like, you know what? What's somewhere like realistically where I can be very happy with selling that still makes sense? Because at this point, I had only made that decision when Dogecoin was at 30 cents, because it was going up so fast. So I was like, you know what? I told my audience, I'm going to sell 50% at 50 cents. It just sounded cool saying that at the time. And then I was selling another 10% at 60, another 10% at 70, 80, 90. And then instead of selling the last little bit at $1, I told them I would just hold on and see where it goes afterwards. So basically, after all that, made a lot of money at 50 cents, a lot of money at 60, a lot of money at 70. It crashed. A lot of value was lost. It picked back up a little bit because Bitcoin itself did this kind of really large rally to go up to another level of all-time highs. But Dogecoin didn't have that next rally to take it back up. So in hindsight, I was just very happy to sell it and take a profit. But when I sold, I was a traitor to the people of Dogecoin, And then you see other Dogecoin streamers at the time, like Dogecoin Millionaire. He didn't sell anything, and then you just watch the value go down and down and down. I was trading stocks and options, and I was trying to be very meticulous about how I do it, because all I want to do is make money. The whole goal of the way I like to trade is make $500, lose $100, but the portfolio is still growing over time. You don't want to risk it if you don't have to. And if you can make like $30,000, and you're like, that's $30,000. It's really nice money, especially for me, who again, I was working in a corporate job. I liked it, but that was like about 3 months of pay at least. And then of course you got to get taxed and stuff like that. But it made so much more sense to me. And for people that like to hold on for the ride, I get you. But like, at some point you're in there to make some money, I don't treat cryptocurrency as gambling. I'm usually waiting for a certain setup. It hits, I make money off it. I sell too early. That's my one weakness. I sell way too early. Think of NVIDIA, how it ran up to 700. I sold my NVIDIA around 450. And I was very happy with selling it there because I'd bought it so low during COVID.
Right.
But it just kept on going up. But the money you made is still there.
You still profited.
Yeah, inflation's been kicking my butt. I go to nice restaurants and stuff. I realize everything's more expensive. One of my favorite restaurants I like to take my grandparents to is called Daniel's Broiler in Bellevue, Washington. I used to be able to go out there and spend $100 on a steak and lobster dinner, which I thought was just a luxury at the time. You know what? Now, just like 3 years later, it's $185 for the same meal.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I don't go there anymore, obviously. Yeah. And so they go get to sushi places. I like to go eat some oysters, things like that. And I just started making a lot more food. I need to lose some weight here, so I've been making a lot more veggies. I've been having some vegan protein shakes and stuff like that. But, even the veggies and the vegan protein shakes, they're not they're not cheap anymore. So just understanding that it doesn't take a lot of money to fuel my life. I only have to make a certain amount. As long as I'm happy with that, I'm okay. And sure, that amount moves up quite a bit depending on what I need to do. Sometimes I rack up a whole bunch of credit card bills, but if I can pay them back within 1 to 2 months, I'm usually pretty happy. Rarely does it take me a few months to pay off a credit card, just because I'm like, I look for the setup, I trade it, just kind of pull some money out. Sometimes I get into disaster modes, but then that's what savings are for, and then you just fill everything back up. But that's usually because I got really excited about something, but I let my emotions take control, lost a bunch of money, I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. Bitcoin just broke down a few days ago and I lost $5,000 on a trade, and I was just like, I'll survive. But I was like, I really thought we were going to try to hold here. But then what happened was there's been so much turbulence in the world, and inflation has been a lot worse than everybody thought it was going to be. I was hoping that the Israel-Iran spat wasn't going to happen, and when it happened, boom, everything came down again. I lost the money, and I was like, you know what? Lesson learned. Don't trade during geopolitical tensions, and just wait it out a little bit more. And I'm hoping that'll save me some money down the line.
All right, that's good. Always lessons learned. I like. I guess it sounds like the key thing for you of managing your risk is really you don't fall into that greed trap.
No.
How do you do that? Because when things are going good, and I fall into that trap because I've lost a bunch on some meme type coins where I just, oh man, it's going up. How much, you're kind of excited about how much further it's going to go up, and then before you know it's too late, everything's crashed.
Yeah, it's It's more about just understanding the technicals of what's happening here. Now, when there's something like a meme coin going off, it's a little bit different because it's really just hard to figure out where the resistance level is because it's hitting new highs. There's nothing stopping it from going higher. Maybe market cap and things like that, but usually it's a little bit more difficult. For me, the way I would approach it is scaling out. So there's going to be a level, let's say you have a technical breakout of some type of pennant trade, and then your breakout. Maybe the RSI is saying it's a buying opportunity. Maybe the stochastic and the MACD are all saying, okay, we have positive momentum coming out of this breakout. I will latch on to that breakout. And then you'll see if the chart was looking like this coming down, it made a line. But each one of those peaks as it came up, that's a level of resistance that's going to have to break out above on the upside. So I might not go for the closest resistance. I may start selling out the second one, the third one, and if it breaks out above that next level of resistance, it's a whole other pattern, I will wait a little bit longer to trade. There's other tools like Fibonacci's and things like that, but just getting out a bit by bit, because until you start to sell, you don't have any realized gains. Once the realized gains come in, you feel a lot more confident about just leaving in there because you're like, I've already made $1,000 from the trade, and worst thing that happens is it comes back down to that base level, and I walk away with just $1,000. That's okay.
Yep.
But at least you made $1,000. So by just selling off a little bit whenever you want to, that's usually the best way to go about it. You have to realize that it's very, very hard to make money in the cryptocurrency markets like consistently in the first place. If you just start selling, like if you bought and you sold whenever you made money, you'd be a lot more consistent than trying to trade every day.
Right.
And just swing trading, even with day trading, if it looks like, you're starting to get worried about, like something looks a little bit off to this, I'm up like maybe only $50, I'm up only a couple $100, but something feels off, it's not moving the way I thought it was going to move, just sell, regroup yourself, you made some money, or maybe you lost some money, sometimes that happens. And then you're like, you know what, I'll just wait it out, and I'll try to find another opportunity.
Okay, so basically make sure you take some profit.
Always.
And what are the red flags or warning signs that make you feel like, okay, it's now to avoid the crash? Like you mentioned, you had some red flags there with regards to the Dogecoin that you said a lot of people were saying it's going to hit $1.
Yeah.
But you're saying because a lot of people were saying that, it
never
was
happens.
likely will not happen.
It never happens.
How does that psychology work?
It's usually because there gets to a certain point where so much people have put money in there, where all the people, like when Dogecoin was at 0.0025 cents, I could buy a load of it and have a lot of Dogecoin. When Dogecoin's at 50 cents, $100 doesn't go nearly as far. And so there's a whole bunch of people looking for that last little bit of money, little bit. But people like me, when it gets to a certain point, when we sell, we have a much larger impact because we're selling off much more Dogecoin. So it just becomes harder and harder to stabilize or to realize what's going on there. And with Dogecoin, things got volatile very fast. It was going up, like 50, 100, a couple of $1,000%. But then would have a crash like 60% and then start skyrocketing back up. Once you start to see something like that, you realize how fast it can go down 70%. Now, if you bought it down low, you might have lost a lot, but you're still profitable by a mile. But once things start to get really crazy, it's really, really bad. And you got to also pay attention to, when it comes to the cryptocurrency market, what's happening with Bitcoin. Bitcoin usually, specifically over the last few cycles, if Bitcoin goes sky high, makes a new all-time high, then it stagnates for a while. Usually you can find that stagnation by looking for a death cross between the 20-day moving average and the 50. Once those cross down below, that's usually marking a big bearish move by Bitcoin. We're seeing it now at this point. Unfortunately, Bitcoin did make another all-time high. Unfortunately, we did have the death cross. A lot of it has to do with the way inflation and the interest rates and what's going on with geopolitics. That's a big part of it. But now we're just going to have to see how far we come back down. And this is all happening pre-halving, which normally all this stuff happens after all the halving's been completed. We're going to the all-time high, then we crash. We've hit the all-time high before the halving even started, and now we're crashing. Not, 74,000. I think Bitcoin's down like $3,000-$4,000 today, so it's not necessarily good. But a lot of volatility. Once rates are cut by the Fed, then I think we'll probably get some larger moves. But until then, it's going to be kind of worrisome, I guess you might call it, because every month we're just going to be paying attention to inflation. It's not going to be the best.
So basically what you're saying is if you see increased volatility, that's a warning sign. And with Bitcoin, if you see Bitcoin flattening out, that may be an indication that
for about 30 days. For 30 days.
If you see it flatten out for about 30 days, that's a good indication for the other coins are going to drop.
Yeah. Because usually in this cycle, you're going to go up a lot. You're going to have one or two big drops, but it'll keep on pumping up and everybody will be really, really happy. it will hit that plateau and it'll go sideways. Everybody's waiting. It usually, after that month, it never keeps on going. It'll just fall off a cliff. And then this past cycle, it was interesting because we managed to come back up for a whole another round too, but I think that was just because all the stimulus checks being sent to everybody. Like I wasn't eligible for stimulus at the time, but I know you were able to get like $1,800 checks and stuff like that.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, people just threw that into cryptocurrency because they were still locked in. You know, what are you going to do with it? You can't go out and have fun at the restaurant, so they just toss in there and hold in the rally. But every single time you see a weekly death cross between the 20 and the 50, it's over. It's over. You can short anything you want to, make a bunch of money, just have responsible amounts of leverage. Always works out. Always. I usually make a lot more money on the downside of Bitcoin than the upside, specifically with trading Bitcoin. Because I like to trade altcoins because they're much more volatile upside. But with Bitcoin, I love to short it down once you start to have that death cross. Never failed me. Now, I've only done it twice, but it's been great. Because they rarely ever happen. Yeah, they really, really ever happen.
Just explain, what do you mean by when you short Bitcoin? What do you actually do?
You're basically just betting that's going to go down.
You're making a bet that it's going to go down.
Yep, so basically you're selling the Bitcoin instead of buying it, and then when you close the position, you're buying the Bitcoin back and you're taking the difference as a profit.
Okay, but you're doing that as part, using a, what do you call it? An options instrument, or you're doing it by actually physically selling your Bitcoin?
Yeah, just cryptocurrency exchange. They'll allow you just to sell it right there, and then you can do it with leverage or something. Usually when I do large moves, I'll be doing anywhere between a 2 to 3x leverage with a large amount of capital. That way I'm not really risking a whole bunch as far as it getting liquidated. Because if Bitcoin were to spike or something, I'm not in risk of everything going and blowing up and me losing everything, me crying or something like that. But if you go up to the 20x or 50x leverage, like I have a few friends that do that, it can be wild. I have a friend, he can make $500,000 in a day, but he can also lose $500,000 in a day. That's not something I really want to do. But his name is Cryptoface, great guy. But it's insane how much money you can really make and lose in the markets in general. Certain people have that risk appetite to be able to do that. My stomach would churn because, I just know how much. It's $500,000. It's a lot of money. To him, it's not. And maybe if I actually got up to that amount of money, I wouldn't bat an eye as much about it. But I still don't trade with much of the capital I have. I only trade with a little bit of money. I keep on taking money out of the exchanges and whatnot because even as exchanges have gotten better over the years, I'm still afraid that maybe what if I have a bunch of money on an exchange and what if that exchange goes down? I have no
FTX.
Yeah, I just have no money. Luckily, I didn't get any FTX, but there's no way to. I wouldn't be able to get it back. And even with FTX, I remember just the chaos that ensued. That was the bottom of the market for this last bear cycle. That was the bottom because everybody was freaking out. We also had Celsius going down. If you know BitBoy Crypto, he lost over $1 million in there. It's been absolutely just terrible to leave so much capital on there. But the exchanges want you to do that because they need liquidity. They want to be able to sell it, move it around. So typically what they'll offer is some type of staking program where it's like interest. If you leave your Bitcoin on our exchange, we'll give you back 5% APY. And, it sounds good. And then if the exchange didn't go down, it was actually really good for you. For me, put it in cold storage or just, turn it back into cash. If I want to pay taxes, usually cold storage works best. And then you just hold it. Don't worry about it. Why add that stress for the 5%? It's not worth it.
I'm curious how you do your asset allocation in terms of, you're saying you only risk a very small amount of your total net worth. Can you share what percentage that you actually put in the market and how much you make sure you keep in cold hard cash or? Yeah.
So usually cold hard cash, it's going to be maybe about 10 to 15%. I usually like to put the majority 40% low risk vehicles. Actually, it's actually down to 30% right now. I've been heavily invested in oil for the past year and a half.
Okay, so you're in stocks.
Oh yeah, oil.
So you call
oil.
that you call that low risk. So we got low risk 30-40% stocks,
yeah.
10-20% cash, and then how much do you put in?
Everything. A lot of other stuff is kind of liquid because it goes in between cold storage and the markets. But you could say that I have about right now, I have maybe about 5 to 7% in the cryptocurrency exchanges ready to be moved around. The rest of it's in cold storage.
Wow,
and
okay,
the reason,
so you're solid, man.
Well, I used to have, it depends on how the market's doing. Right now, the cold storage, the value is up so much because Bitcoin has gone up to $74,000 that it actually takes a larger market share out of everything. Normally, in the bear market, it's not going to actually be that much. But I understand cryptocurrency, I like it, but I'm always paranoid about it because even a couple years ago. Remember, it's only 2022, FTX goes down. I'm not confident that every exchange out there is going to be perfect and ready for the next bear market, especially if the government comes in and starts messing with things. The SEC's been kind of picky about everything. Usually everybody liked Binance because that was the place to be, KuCoin the place to be. We don't have those options anymore in the United States, so people have to go to some of those newer ones, and the newer ones don't have as much capital. And so they're still good to trade on. There's no problems with them right now, but what happens in a bear market, you just don't know, so why risk it?
Okay, so if you're just getting started into the crypto market, so I guess you'd be probably, how much would you be, if you were to restart now, would you be still investing around 5 to 7% of your total net capital into the market, or would you start with something less?
I would probably do about 5% of your paycheck if you can.
Right.
It really depends on what the market's doing. If you can buy during a bear market when everything is terrible, that's usually going to be the best time to be going in there.
Of course, yeah.
It's going to be the most boring time to be in there. And typically during that time, I would say just get a Crypto.com account or a Coinbase account. You don't have to do anything flashy. I don't even recommend that people do much trading in cryptocurrency until they've actually done 100 plus hours of just learning patterns, technical analysis, all the real boring stuff that comes along with it. But if you just want to make money, start dollar cost averaging in a bear market, or better yet, just start saving up money, first of all, put it into a savings account. When the Bitcoin starts to crash, just start buying Bitcoin. Easy tip is to buy Bitcoin when it starts to break down below the 100 weekly moving average. It'll usually sit down there for a few months, but then that's usually where you're going to be happy with buying it in the long term. This past cycle, that was when Bitcoin broke down below $22,000. Now Bitcoin went down to $15,000, but still a decent range to be buying. It's not at the 60,000 level, and you can dollar cost average, so you're buying 24, 23, 22, and it averages out about, this past cycle, what was it? Kind of around 19. So if you buy around 19,000, that's your dollar cost average level, and you manage to sell when Bitcoin hits 60,000, 70,000, maybe if it goes up to $100,000, something like that, you're still going to be happy with the profits. And the easiest way, really, if it's a bear market, you can start dollar cost averaging right away. If it's not a bear market, don't worry about it. Just put money into savings, then you can start to buy up more Bitcoin. Split it up to maybe once a week. It could be even once a month. It really depends on how much time you have. I've known that a lot of people that have families, they just don't have the time to be looking at everything, keeping track of everything. Once a month will do just fine. If you're in college, you just have a side job and you're just looking to put money in there, every week, even every day if you really want to. Every time Bitcoin drops 10, 15, like on a crash day, buy some up. I buy on crash days. That's what I love to do. It just makes life simpler, even when I'm dollar cost averaging now. I still think Bitcoin can go higher from here, just when rates end up getting cut by the Fed. Every time there's a crash, like today, I bought a couple $100 more worth of Bitcoin, a little bit more of Ethereum. I think I added $400 into one of the AI tokens out there because I haven't had enough exposure to those ones. Just bit by bit, and then you got to wait. The waiting is the hardest part.
Right now, Bitcoin's what? You said it's around 70 right now?
Yeah, probably around 60,000 right now. It's been having a couple of weeks.
Do you think it's okay to get? You are buying some at this point?
Oh, yeah.
As well. Okay.
That's because I'm taking the gamble. I think we're going to go much higher, and that's really because we haven't had the halving yet, right? Where the reward for mining Bitcoin gets cut in half, so there's going to be a supply shock. We also have Hong Kong getting ready to add their own Bitcoin ETFs out into the market, and then also inflation hasn't come down, so we haven't had rates come down. When the rates come down, I think everything just becomes a little bit more easy and more money will just flow into the market. Now, I don't know if we're going to 200,000, 300,000, or just 150,000. I'll be happy if Bitcoin is 100,000. I'm going to start selling my Bitcoin that I'm buying right now around 60,000. I'm going to start selling at 80,000. Okay. So, I'm not even anticipating the 100. I'm going to start the process of selling it around $80,000. Now, people may be like, why are you going to do that? I don't know how high it's going to go. I just want to lock in some profit. It all goes back to, at the end of the day, are you one of those people that made money, or are you one of the people that lost money? It's better to make $500 than lose $4,000. You know what I mean? And usually you'll make a lot more money, but just scale a little bit at a time. It works out really well.
No, I really like your measured approach. Very nice. All right, so there's a lot of information there, and I think probably a lot of people who haven't had much exposure to the crypto markets, some of that stuff may have been over. So some of that was over my head, to be honest. So where can we get more information? We can go to, you have a YouTube channel, just talks about crypto.
Oh, yeah. My YouTube channel, it's nice and simple. I don't try to make it a crazy name. It's just literally my name, Michael Whitman, MichaelWhitman. Nice simple. I talk about everything from earnings reports from stocks, cryptocurrencies. We watch Jerome Powell talk. A lot of boring stuff, a lot of informative stuff. And I teach you guys the safe way to trade. Too many people try to get you guys to do all these crazy moves, and all you have to do is buy low, sell high. But just understanding the market environment of what's going on, that makes the process a lot easier. And if you buy when nobody else wants to buy, you don't have to worry about buying in late when everything's been running up. Usually the people that are buying it when everything's really high, they're there so you can offload your crypto and you can walk away with the cash and being very, very happy. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Very nice. And and one of the things that you mentioned that you do have is your live streaming, which I think is pretty valuable. So you can actually watch Michael talk about what's happening in the market right now, so you can understand how to read the graphs and all the metrics and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's probably super valuable as a starting point.
Oh, yeah. It could be the charts of what's going on in the cryptocurrency market, or it can be charts coming out from the government. It's important to understand what the government's saying to you about inflation. We go over the inflation data every month. I can tell you that this month, men's clothes is skyrocketing, women's clothes is actually staying stagnant, which is really weird because women's clothes has been getting very expensive over the last few months, while men's clothes have been stagnating.
What does that mean? What is the fact that men's going up and women's stagnant?
It just shows you where the price is. Like, that means that men are going to have less income, less money to be spending on things, which could, if men's goods go up to a certain degree, that means they have less purchasing power for the stuff they want. If you can figure out what men like to buy in the stock market, you can see that they're probably not going to be as good, they're not going to have as great of an earnings cycle, which means you may not want to be holding those specific assets.
Wow.
Yeah. It can be quite boring going through the data, but the exciting stuff is always going to be just the money you're able to make off of it.
No, this is definitely, while it may be boring or not that interesting, I think it's very important to understand the macroeconomics, as you shared, as well as whatever you're looking at investing in. Man, thank you so much for your time, man. It's been very, very educational.
I'm glad. That's what I do.
All right. Thank you. We're here at NAB, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed our conversation and found it as educational as I did. Feel free to post any questions, comments, or suggestions below. And of course, go check out Michael's YouTube channel. Links in the description. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any new videos from me. And please do share if you know someone who could benefit from our chat. Thanks again for watching, and see you on the next one.